Welcome to my channel.
And this is English Podcast Station.
Ever stop to think how vital clear communication is, especially, when it involves our health?
Oh, absolutely.
And for those of you learning English, visiting a doctor, well, it can feel like a pretty big hurdle sometimes.
It really can. Even for something simple like a checkup, there's specific language, specific steps, and feeling prepared. It just makes a world of difference to your confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And that's precisely what we're digging into today. We're looking at a great resource. It's a podcast episode from the English Podcast Station.
Ah, yes, the one with James and Erica.
That's the one. Navigating a Doctor's Visit, podcast episode 1. And they break it down really practically. This is just the first part of their series, actually.
Which is good, I think. It suggests they're really laying the groundwork, focusing on getting those essential basics right first.
Yeah. So our mission for this deep dive is, to equip you with the key English words, the phrases you'll need, so you can handle a doctor's visit much more confidently. We want you to feel less overwhelmed, more in control, whether it's just a routine thing or you're actually feeling under the weather.
That sense of control is huge. And it really comes down to knowing what to expect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And knowing how to say what you need to say.
Definitely.
Understanding the typical process, the language used.
Yeah,
It can really ease any nerves you might have.
totally. And it's not just for when you're sick either. Erica mentioned in the podcast, didn't she, that she had a checkup last year?
Oh, right. Yeah. When she felt fine.
Exactly. Just as a preventative measure. So this is relevant for pretty much everyone. Okay, so let's start with a really key term they bring up right away. Checkup.
Yes, checkup. That's fundamental. The podcast defines it clearly. It's a visit to the doctor when you are not sick, but you want to check your health.
Right. It's about being proactive.
Exactly. Preventive care.
So if you walk into a clinic and say, I'm here for a checkup, everyone understands immediately.
Yep. They know you're there for a general health assessment, not because you have a specific problem right now.
Mm-hmm.
Simple, clear communication.
It's a very direct phrase. Okay, so before you even get to the clinic, usually the first step is making an appointment.
Often over the phone.
And that can feel a bit intimidating in another language, can it? No visual cues.
That's a really good point. Phone calls are often harder when you're learning. You can't see facial expressions or gestures.
Right.
So knowing some key phrases off by heart, super helpful.
And the podcast gives a great little example conversation. James is the patient. Erica's the receptionist.
Yeah, I remember that bit.
James kicks it off with, hello, I'd like to make an appointment with the doctor, please.
Which is a perfect way to start. Polite, direct, I'd like to, it's nice standard phrase for requests.
Yeah, sounds better than maybe just, I want to sometimes.
And a little more courteous, yeah. Though I want to is fine too, really.
Then Erica, playing the receptionist, says, sure, what is your name? And James replies, my name is James Wilson. Basic info.
Standard stuff. The clinic needs to know who you are to find you in the system or create a record.
And the crucial question, and what is the reason for your visit?
Yes.
James answers, I have a sore throat and a fever. So clearly stating the problem.
Yeah, and that's important because it helps the receptionist gauge, how urgent it might be, or if you need a specific type of appointment slot.
Right, like if it's something potentially contagious or needs more time.
Precisely. Gives them context.
So Erica then says, okay, the doctor is available at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Does that work for you?
Offering a specific time.
And James accepts. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. Boom. Appointment made.
Nice and smooth. And that key phrase again.
I'd like to make an appointment with the doctor, please.
Definitely one to remember for starting that call.
Okay, moving on. Let's say you're now actually seeing the doctor. You'll need to describe how you feel. This brings us to talking about symptoms.
Right. Symptoms. And the podcast explains the symptoms simply as something your body feels when you are sick.
A sign something's not quite right.
Exactly.
And they list some really common ones: fever, cough, headache.
Sore throat, runny nose, stomach ache. The usual suspects.
Things most of us unfortunately experience now and then. Being able to name them in English is obviously key.
Absolutely essential for getting the right help. And sometimes, even adding a little descriptor helps, like saying, I have a bad headache or just a slight cough.
Good point. Describing the severity. The podcast focuses on the basic structure, though, which is great for learners, like, I have a fever.
Or I have a cough.
Or slightly different, my head hurts, I have a headache.
My stomach hurts, I have a stomach ache.
Yeah.
Yeah. The core structure is usually I have plus the symptom name.
Super useful, easy to remember structure.
That simplicity is gold when you're learning. A clear template.
Okay, so appointment made, you know how to maybe describe a basic symptom. Now you arrive at the clinic. What's the drill then?
Well, usually, first stop is the front desk, right? Talk to the receptionist.
Let them know you're there.
Exactly. Check in for your appointment.
And the podcast gives a nice, clear example phrase. Hello, I have an appointment at time. My name is your name.
Perfect. So, using their example, hello, I have an appointment at 10 a.m. My name is James Wilson.
Covers all the bases. Time, name. Lets the receptionist find your booking straight away.
Clear, concise, efficient, just what they need.
Then comes the potentially less fun part.
The waiting room.
Yeah, waiting until your name is called. Then you finally go in for the interaction with the doctor. This is the main event, really.
This is where you really need to communicate your concerns. The doctor needs to understand exactly why you've come in.
And the podcast points out common questions the doctor might start with. Things like, what brings you in today?
Or, how can I help you?
What are your symptoms? All variations on tell me what's wrong.
And just being prepared for those opening questions can make you feel, a bit less on the spot.
Yeah, helps you gather your thoughts. They also give examples of patient answers. Simple ones like, I have a headache and a fever.
Or, I feel very tired.
I've been coughing for 3 days. That last one adds duration, which is useful.
Very useful. Knowing how long symptoms have been going on helps the doctor figure things out.
And to illustrate this whole exchange, they have another little role play. Erica as the doctor, James as the patient.
Right.
Dr. Erica starts, Hello, James. What brings you in today?
Very standard, friendly opening.
Patient James replies, Hi, doctor. I've had a sore throat and cough for 2 days.
See? Straight to the point. Symptoms and duration. Perfect.
Gives the doctor the main info immediately. Then the doctor follows up. I see. Do you have a fever?
Asking a clarifying question based on the initial symptoms. Makes sense.
James says, Yes, I think I do. This kind of back and forth is typical, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's how the doctor gathers more specific details to build a clearer picture.
And the exchange ends with the doctor saying, Okay, I will check your temperature. The podcast notes that James's line, I've had a sore throat and cough for 2 days, is a really good sentence structure to practice.
And it is. Symptom plus time frame. Concise and informative. Really useful.
Now, it's not just about answering questions, is it? You need to be ready for asking questions, too.
Oh, definitely. It's your health. You have the right and, frankly, the need to ask questions to understand what's going on.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Never. The doctor is there to explain things.
And the podcast suggests some really practical questions, like, is it serious?
A very common concern. Also, do I need medicine?
Can I go to work or school? That affects your daily life.
How long will it take to get better? Managing expectations. Maybe even, are there any side effects to this medicine? Or, what should I do if I don't feel better in a few days?
Good additions. All covering those key areas. Seriousness, treatment, impact, recovery.
Exactly. Understanding the plan.
Okay, finally, the episode touches on medicine. If the doctor decides you need it, they often give you a prescription. What's that exactly?
Well, the podcast explains it as a paper that tells the pharmacy what medicine you need. It's basically the doctor's official instruction for medication.
Got it. A doctor's note for the pharmacist. And what do you do with it?
You take this paper to the pharmacy to get the medicine. The pharmacist reads it, prepares the medication, and gives it to you.
Simple enough. The pharmacy being the shop where you get the actual drugs.
Correct.
The podcast also lists words for different types of medicine: pills, tablets.
Syrup, drops, cream. Useful to know what form the medicine might take.
Yeah, so you're not surprised if they hand you a bottle instead of a box. And crucially, understanding the doctor's instructions for taking the medicine.
Absolutely vital.
They give examples like, take this medicine twice a day.
Or take 1 pill after meals.
Use this cream on your skin. Getting these instructions right is key for the medicine to work and, well, for safety.
Definitely. Dosage, frequency, timing, like before or after food, it all matters. Don't hesitate to ask the doctor or pharmacist to clarify if you're unsure about anything.
Good advice. Always double check if needed. Okay, wow. So let's quickly recap this deep dive into part 1 of navigating a doctor's visit.
We covered quite a bit.
Yeah. Making the appointment, especially that phone call part. Talking about symptoms using simple structures.
What to say when you arrive at the clinic, checking in.
The interaction with the doctor, both answering and asking questions.
And finally, understanding prescriptions and basic medicine terms and instructions.
Phew. That's a really solid foundation for handling those initial steps of a doctor's visit.
Absolutely. You should feel much better equipped now with a key language for each stage.
So congratulations. You've just done a deep dive that should seriously boost your confidence for dealing with doctors in English. Maybe take a moment to think. Which of these phrases feels most useful for you?
Or perhaps think about other questions you might personally want to ask a doctor next time. Personalizing it makes the learning stick.
Great point. And hey, remember, this was only part 1 from James and Erica's podcast.
That's right. There's more to come in their series, apparently.
So more help is on the way. Until our next deep dive, take care, everyone, and keep up the great work with your English.